Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am back at it again with the podcast. Just me again. Just Adam. Alan has decided to do something else. I don't know, he was doing homework or something, so he did not have time to record. But, yeah. So, let's get into the news. There's not going to be a topic again this week. For the simple fact that I'm not going to simply discuss a topic by myself. I don't know. Seemed boring without the little rapport that Alan and I have going. Seems boring to get that topic in without any input from him. So, let's get into the news. Captain America 3 was not always said to be Civil War. The directors, Anthony and Joe Russo, came out and said that they were going to do it on the popular story about the Mad Bomb, which was essentially turning people into zombies, but without making them zombies. And that was like really, really early stage before they even got Robert Downey Jr. signed on to do the film. So I think this would have been cool because it would have introduced a new element into the MCU that we haven't seen before, but it also would not have fit in anywhere with what the Marvel Cinematic Universe is as a whole. So yeah, I don't know if what I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now because I'm still sick. But okay, hang on. Yeah, so I don't know how they necessarily turn into zombie-like creatures, but I don't think it's actually zombies. Anyway, a clip was released this past week that showed what Thor was doing during Civil War, and he was just hanging out with his friend Daryl. That's all he was doing. He was just waiting for the call. He had a room and everything. Mjolnir had its own bed. Oh, it was such a great clip. I loved it. And then in one part, you see Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner, and he's like, yeah, well, I turn into the Hulk, and then I turn back into Banner, and all I have is shorts on. I don't know how it happens, but it happens. So, obviously, um, he doesn't understand the fact that the Hulk is a lot bigger than him, and when he transforms in his clothes, he just rips the clothes. But, oh well, that's his fault for not knowing. He's a scientist. He should know that. The next piece of news is there was a picture of Cogsworth and Lumiere from the Beauty and the Beast upcoming live action movie, and I did not really like it. It was concept art, not necessarily a picture, but they did not look like they were alive at all. So, they just looked like a clock and a candlestick. I mean, I understand that's what they are, but that's literally what they looked like they were. They didn't look like they had any life in them at all. But it's clearly very close to the source material, so that's really good. The next piece of news that we have is there's an extended clip from Luke Cage this week, and it's a longer version of the teaser trailer that was released after the final episode of Daredevil Season 2. And it basically just shows Luke Cage walking into a boxing gym and ruining another outfit because of bullets. Yeah, it's pretty cool though. I'm excited for it. It comes out in less than a month now, so it's exciting. So, the next piece of news is that the Zombieland and Deadpool writers Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, since they have that hugely successful movie, namely Deadpool, they are now working on Zombieland 2. Hopefully that brings back Jesse Eisenberg, Emma Stone, whatever the little girl's actual actress's name is, and Woody Harrelson, because that movie was amazing. It was probably one of the greatest movies I saw while I was in high school. Like, just out of pure enjoyment, because it was so ridiculous. Okay, the next piece of news is that the director of Electric Children, Rebecca Thomas, is currently on the short list for the directors of Captain Marvel. She joins the other people on the list, Nikki Caro, Lorene Scafaria, and Leslie Linklater. I have not seen Electric Children, but if she's on the short list for directors, it must be a good movie, or it must have showed something that Marvel is interested in having as must have showed something that Marvel liked that piqued their interest in this director. So yeah, the next piece of news is that the movie Life of the Party, starring Melissa McCarthy, the enemy is going to be Julie Bowen, who stars in Modern Family, like the main antagonist. Sorry, this is tough because it's really early in the morning while I'm recording this. But it already has a sweet release date of May 11th, 2018, which I don't know how you secure release dates 2 years in advance. Doesn't really make sense to me. Like, wouldn't you just release the movie whenever you wanted to? Wouldn't that make sense? But yeah, that's when it has the release date, and hopefully it's good. I like Melissa McCarthy. She's been in a lot of good stuff. I really enjoyed Spy. I did not see The Boss, but I heard it was bad, but I also heard it was good. So I don't really know necessarily what to think, but I just hope it's good because when I saw Spy, I did not really care for Melissa McCarthy that much, and now I kind of like her in pretty much whatever she's in, except Ghostbusters. Did not want to see that Ghostbusters movie. It just, you can't beat the original. I don't care what people say. Nothing will be better than the original Ghostbusters to me. Except Ghostbusters 2. Just kidding. Ghostbusters 2 is terrible and ridiculous. So the next piece of news is that Marvel released a snippet of Doctor Strange, like a little sneak peek pic, and a little sneak peek video that's being attached to the Captain America Civil War Blu-ray. And it basically just shows a little bit of footage looking at It basically just shows a little bit of footage looking at the Ancient One, Mads Mikkelsen's villain, and Chiwetel Ejiofor's Carl Mordo. The film is, what's today? It is currently the 7th, so it is less than 2 months away. I'm excited. I would shout in excitement, but both my roommates are asleep right now, and I don't want to wake them up, because it's 6 a.m. Anyway, yeah, so I'm actually excited about this. I saw this clip, and it's really cool the way that they kind of describe Mads Mikkelsen's villain and all of his henchmen. They're basically like people who got corrupted by the dark magic or people who got corrupted by the magic that they were studying. So, okay. Yeah, that's that news. On to the next piece of news. So, the Warcraft movie could have a sequel. Now, this might be surprising because it took in less than $50 million in the United States, but worldwide it finished with $433.5 million. And because of that, obviously a sequel is not out of sight. But I really enjoyed Warcraft. I think a lot more people should have seen it. I know I talked about it on here a while back, but it was actually a really good movie and I would watch it again. I mean, I wouldn't like go back to the theater and watch it again just because I normally only like seeing movies once in the theater. Just how I am. I don't know really why, but I don't I think I've only seen one movie more than once in the theater, and that was Avengers Age of Ultron because I saw it by myself in a ridiculous like 24-hour marathon, and then I saw it the next night with my best friend. But I actually enjoyed Age of Ultron as well. Now back to Warcraft. For the sequel, I think they should focus strictly on one character instead of doing the multiple characters like they did in this. And what I mean by that is they had the protagonist from the orcs and the protagonist from the humans. I think they should pick one or the other and just focus on them and their story. I think that's where oh sorry. God, I hate being sick, dude. But I think that's actually where they kind of misstepped because it kind of took the flow out of the movie when you were watching like something happening with the humans and then just switched to the orc camp. And you were like, well, I was kind of invested with what they were doing there. But the way they had the cuts, it was always like when the humans were traveling or something. It was just hard because he's trying to tell a story from two points of view. So I think a sequel would work. You just have to have the right script. And I would like Duncan Jones to direct it again because I think he did a really good job directing this one. It's just that it's kind of hard to bring back a director when in the United States the film only brings in $47 million. Anyway, on to the next piece of news. James Franco has this new film that's coming out soon. It is coming out it's coming out September 3rd. Or sorry, September 23rd. It's called Goat. And I watched the trailer for this movie. It looks insane. I don't know if he's just acting in it or if he's directing it. But it looks really good. It stars Nick Jonas, a bunch of other younger actors that I've never seen before, and then James Franco's just there, like just out of nowhere. So it looks really interesting. It's about frats and the recruitment process in that, and shows a bunch of hazing and stuff, which actually is not allowed. People people haze, but it's not allowed at all. Like it's illegal to haze somebody to get into a frat. You can have them do whatever you want. You just can't haze them. Like, let's say you need a ride at 3 in the morning. Guess what? You're calling that pledge to come pick you up. That's just stories that I've heard from my friends that are in fraternities. For the stuff that they had to go through, they were like, yeah, dude, I just had to sit at the bar until they were done, and I had a test the next day. Like, that's insane. Your academics should come first before anything else that you're doing in college. Like, that should be the number one thing. Okay, so I don't know if we talked about this last week, but Ben Affleck dropped a clip of Deathstroke. Yeah, so he's going to be the villain for the solo Batman movie. I believe it's been confirmed that's what he is. This clip just looks incredible. It's clearly being filmed on a set, so maybe he shows up in Justice League in that clip. I'm not entirely sure, but the design of his armor looks incredible. It's so sleek, much better looking than the one in the Arrowverse. Now, don't get me wrong, the one in Arrow is amazing. I love Manu Bennett as Slade Wilson, but it's kind of hard to see him in all that clunky armor and then believe that he would be able to move that fast. Okay, the next piece of news is that ABC and Marvel are currently working on a new Warriors TV show for streaming and cable, and the team for this is mainly teenagers. I think one of the characters is Speedball. I don't know any of the other characters, but it's now set to feature Squirrel Girl as well because of Squirrel Girl's popularity. So, I think this would be really cool because of Squirrel Girl's constant growing popularity. They're just gonna take that and basically explode it on TV. And I hope they get Anna Kendrick to play her, even though a lot of movie actresses and actors don't then go back to TV. Except TV is, huge right now. It's getting so much bigger. And a lot better. It's crazy. So, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for basically anything Marvel or DC does at this point. The next piece of news is that the director of Gambit has left. The movie that is constantly changing the dates that it's going to be shooting and the dates that it's going to be released. The director Doug Liman left. He's going to DC. He's directing Justice League Dark, which is all the weird mystical people like Zatanna, Constantine, Swamp Thing, all them. And this was previously rumored to be under Guillermo del Toro's belt, but obviously it's not anymore. I'm excited for this because Doug Liman directed what's the movie called? Edge of Tomorrow. Yes, that's the name. Edge of Tomorrow was amazing. Highly underrated, but amazing. I watched it for the first time on demand after it came out, and I was blown away at how great Tom Cruise was in this, because for a good 3 or 4 movies, Tom Cruise had kind of been cheesing it up. He had just been doing Tom Cruise. But in this movie, no. He was the loser in this movie. He was scared of war. And it was really good. Anyway, on to the next piece of news that we've got here. So, Disney released a behind-the-scenes look at their live-action adaptation of Beauty and the Beast. Now, I probably should have talked about this at the beginning when I talked about Cogsworth and Lumiere, but I'm talking about it now, because I'm a savage. But they didn't show really any footage. They just kind of showed all behind the scenes stuff. And behind the scenes, when they say like a sneak peek behind the scenes, that can be footage, that can be set design, concept art. But this was strictly behind the scenes, like just watching table reads, pretty much. So yeah, it just showed Emma Watson and Dan Stevens rehearsing their characters. And yeah, it's going to be part of the Beauty and the Beast Collector's Edition Blu-ray. So I don't know why that really matters. But that is coming out September 20th. The movie's coming out March 17th of next year. Alan will be excited for it, because Alan loves Disney movies. Probably more than anybody I've ever met in my entire life, which is just insane. Okay, on to the next piece of news. So, as pretty much everybody in the world knows at this point, the movie Deadpool was a gigantic success. Like, ballpark success. But since the budget was so low, there was not enough money to have the writers on set while they were filming, so Ryan Reynolds paid them out of his own pocket to be on set. That's insane, dude. This guy wanted this movie to be made so badly and have it be so great that he paid these writers out of his own pocket. Like, I could not imagine anybody doing that on any other movie. It's normally only the studio that pays the writers. And that's probably one of the reasons it was so good, was because they had the writers on set all the time. And Deadpool 2 will also be awesome. I just hope that we get more X-Men in it. More X-Men, meaning like, besides Domino and Cable, because they already rumored those two. Anyway, on to the next piece of news. So, in June, Mel Gibson had announced that he was quietly working on a follow-up to The Passion of the Christ. And it turns out Randall Wallace, who wrote Braveheart, is now working on the follow-up as well. And it's going to be titled The Resurrection. This project was confirmed by Gibson in an interview, but there's no release date yet. I've seen The Passion of the Christ. It's honestly very, very bloody. Like, too bloody for me to watch. I don't mind gore and stuff like that in movies, but this was just insane. I could not watch it. And the youth group director of my church tried to have me and two other kids my age watch it when we were in like 7th grade. I don't know why. It was so ridiculous. Like, why would you have kids watch that movie? Okay. On to the next piece of news is that Mark Hamill took to Facebook or social media or wherever it was, some sort of social media, and he shaved off his beard in order to prepare for his next project. And in this, he told the audience that he's happy to be losing his beard and he won't miss it until episode 9. So Mark Hamill basically just confirmed that Luke Skywalker is in episode 9 in some way. Now, that does not necessarily mean that he doesn't die in episode 8, because, as we know, Force ghosts do exist. but I don't think he'll die just because it's a Skywalker story. That's what Star Wars has always been. I think it'll be probably that in episode 9 he dies, or episode 10. Just because Mark Hamill loves this stuff. Like, he loves being a nerd, which is great. And he probably... How am I trying to explain this? When he does die in the movies, not Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, but when Luke Skywalker dies in the movies, he's definitely going to be a Force ghost, which means that he'll be around for tons of movies anyway. So, I think it'll be good to just keep Mark Hamill kind of in your back pocket, Disney. You know, use him when you need him, but don't overuse him and abuse him. Because he's Mark Hamill. He's a beloved actor. Okay, on to the next piece of news, is that Ian McDiarmid, who played the Emperor, confirmed that he's not going to be playing the Emperor in Star Wars Rogue One. Yeah, so, I mean, I kind of figured he wasn't going to be in Rogue One since he's not on the Death Star in the first movie, and he's not shown in the original Star Wars movie. But I guess somebody thought he was going to be there. Like, I guess they thought that hooded figure in the trailer was going to be him. But it's not. That's not him. It's probably Vader. If it's not Vader, then I don't know who it is. Okay, on to the next piece of news, is that Jon Favreau is going back to the MCU. He's playing Happy Hogan again. He's going to be reprising that role in Spider-Man Homecoming. And this kind of makes sense since Robert Downey Jr.'s already in Spider-Man Homecoming. And I guess that means that Happy Hogan is back to being his bodyguard, kind of. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, that would kind of be interesting since in Iron Man 3, he was like, yeah, it's embarrassing to be Iron Man's bodyguard. But, oh well. I think it'll be good. I love Jon Favreau. He's a great actor, great director. And he really brought something to the character of Happy Hogan that I enjoyed. Okay, the next piece of news is that production began on Jumanji. Dwayne Johnson revealed on Instagram the character that he's playing. His name is Dr. Bravestone. And The Rock also confirmed that it's not a reboot, but rather a sequel to the Jumanji film that starred Robin Williams in 1995. So, that'll be fun. Now, on to the next piece of news, is that Jackie Chan is going to be given an honorary award by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences because he's been in Hollywood in the movie business for 50 plus years. But he only really broke out in America since Rumble in the Bronx in 1996, and then obviously had success with the hilarious Rush Hour movies. He had Shanghai Noon, all that stuff. But yeah, I think it's good. Jackie Chan's an amazing actor, and he puts in a lot of hard work. Definitely gives probably more than he gets out of some movies. I think he deserves it. I think it should have been given to him earlier than it has been. But, oh well, what are you going to do? Okay, on to the last and final piece of news. Pitch Perfect 3 has gotten a new director, Elizabeth Banks, who directed the last one, will not be reprising her role as director, but they have the new director. It's the director of Step Up All In, Trish C. It was originally set to be released in the summer of this coming year, but it's been pushed back until December. So it's going to be competing against Star Wars Episode 8. Bad move. That's not something you want to go up against, but obviously they're looking for the fallout from Star Wars, I'm guessing. So it's like, oh, well, all the Star Wars movies are sold out. What do we go see? Oh, Pitch Perfect 3? Yeah, let's do it. Anyway, guys, that is all the news that I've got today. I hope you all enjoyed this short 38-ish minute solo episode since Alan's being lazy and he can't get his homework done in time. Literally, he said, I got homework to do. I didn't do it all weekend. So yeah, that's Alan for you. Alan in a nutshell. Anyway, I do hope y'all enjoyed. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube and Spreaker at the Two Idiots Movies podcast. You can email us at twoidiotsmovies@gmail.com. I think that's the email. I think it is. I don't have it on my phone, so I don't know. I hope that's the email. I hope I'm not giving people out the wrong email. Oh, that'd be bad. But yeah, and share the show with your friends so that we can grow our listener base and do this with a better production budget. Because our production budget right now is $0 and it'd be nice to have actual microphones. So yeah, we will see you all next week, hopefully. Bye.